Hi, you. It's me, Nicole Phoenix Star, and this is the Nick Star podcast. Probably the biggest question I get for anyone messaging me or contacting me around perimenopause and menopause is what to eat. And so I thought I'd do a podcast on that today because it is a thing. And what we eat in our 20s and 30s and continue to eat very similar foods or similar ways, all of a sudden lands differently, is digested differently as our hormones change. And people find they used to eat a certain way, and then all of a sudden they're putting on weight but haven't changed their diet, or they eat less and they put on weight and they exercise more and still putting on weight. It's a really, really, really confusing time. And it's, I don't know, it's so fascinating. I spent several years studying all the dietary parameters around hormones for perimenopause and menopause, and tested and measured a lot of things. And, a lot of women start eating in what they think is really healthy and still are either putting on weight or having symptoms. And, this is one of the biggest things. It's like, I eat really healthy and blah, blah, blah. My diet's really clean and healthy, blah, blah, blah. And it's a big, big thing, I eat really healthy is something I hear commonly from a lot of women. And I said, yeah, that's okay. But do you eat this at this time? Do are you aware of your macros, blah, blah, blah. And once we kind of break it down, we realize that although they may be eating healthy, when they're eating it is causing issues. And or although they're eating healthy, they're eating a lot of calories and they don't realize that, there are so many calories in fruit that we don't even think about. You think that fruit is calorie neutral and it's not. And, all the nuts and all the nut butters, and you can really end up with a massive calorie bank when you're eating healthy and you have no idea. So the simplicity of it all comes down to understanding your macros, and that is, the percentage of carbohydrates you're getting, the percentage of fats you're getting, and the percentage of protein you're getting. And carbohydrates aren't just bread and pasta and things like that. Like, all vegetables are carbohydrates. And we don't even think about that. So, another massive piece is around befriending breakfast and how setting the hormones up for the day so that, the cortisol isn't, sent into overdrive because you've fasted in the morning. And whether that's like an intentional fast or I just don't eat breakfast, because I don't eat that much. And this is the thing, when I started looking at this deeply, I realized that I could eat so much food of that's low calorie, that is healthy and or not, but I do eat healthy. Because it's nutrient dense and my nutrient bank is full, full, full. And it was extraordinary to me how much I could eat in a day and be in a calorie deficit. I wanted to be in a calorie deficit because I wanted to lose the 20 kilos that had snuck up on me during perimenopause. So surprisingly, because, I ate healthy. And I had no idea how many calories I was having every day eating healthy. So, I started learning about macros and what that meant, and getting myself into a calorie deficit and how one works that out. You just go to Google and put in RMR calculator, which is your resting metabolic rate. And that's essentially how much energy your body uses and how many calories it burns just by being alive. No movement, nothing, just by existing. And you put in your age, and you put in your weight and your height, and it'll give you a number. And if you are calculating calories under that number, you'll lose weight. Like, you just will. Like, simple as that. And learning that has been a complete life changer for me. Like, I know, and now, because I spent 18 months tracking my calories, I know now what foods are around what number. And I know that, if I'm going to have a day of big calories and the next day I just have less. And you realize that having this educational information available to you, there's no real way you can get really overweight again. It's like breaks your brain big time. And then we come down to, what to eat and when to eat. Like I said, befriending breakfast is the best thing you can do for chaotic hormones and menopausal hormones, because it fuels the hormones and it keeps them stable, as opposed to them freaking out and adrenals and cortisol getting tapped and all sorts of things. So befriending breakfast is a really, really, really big thing. And it's ideal to eat within an hour from waking up. And for me, most mornings I have eggs with vegetables. Like, I kind of make an omelette type thing. And some days when I'm either super busy or I've got early calls or all day calls, I have a big protein smoothie. I never, ever, ever, ever miss breakfast ever. And then for lunch, I have a big dose. And this, the thing is, having protein, fats, and carbs at every meal. So rather than just having it in one meal, it's really optimum to have it across each meal you have. And lunch, I have a massive salad. I add things like nutritional yeast. I add things like spirulina, and I use coconut aminos as my dressing, because they're additional protein sources and nutrient sources. So I kind of like work out every ingredient I've got and how it's going to benefit me. And you don't have to do this, but I'm just like that. So I have a big salad, and I have avocado for my fats, and I have cherry tomatoes, and I have a source of protein. And again, I don't like cucumber. Lots of people put cucumber in. Like, you can put in anything, and you just make it as colorful as you like. At 3 o'clock, because every 3 to 4 hours, it's really optimum for the hormones to be fueled. Again, it doesn't put any stress on the body, because if you are using all your energy and whatnot, it will put stress on the hormones, and the body registers that as any type of stress, and it will hold calories. It will hold because it needs the energy to deal with the stress. I always have an apple and either a tablespoon of nut butter or half a protein bar, because again, whenever I eat fruit, I also have a little bit of fat and protein with it, so that there's no glucose spike that come from just eating fruit. Again, the glucose spikes are higher when you've got menopausal and perimenopausal hormones as opposed to other times in your life. And then dinner, I always have quinoa as my carbohydrate with starch. And this is the big thing. And I also have baked pumpkin. And I have broccoli. And I have a source of protein. And I have a big, massive amount of kale. And I have a big slathering of natural yogurt. And I mix this up with different kind of things. But this is a general example. So the thing is with starchy carbohydrates, which is that rice, which is that pasta, which is that sweet potato, pumpkin, potato, bread, and all of that, is really advantageous to only have in the evenings if you're in perimenopause and menopause. Having it during the day will trigger the hormones, and that's where you get like a tiredness feeling or that, slump feeling. And it's absolutely ideal to only have starchy carbohydrates in the evening. It will also help with a deeper sleep. Now, there's lots of sneaky things that you don't think about that have starchy carbs in them, and one is oat milk. Oats are starchy carbs, and again, not ideal to have for breakfast if you're a perimenopausal menopausal woman. Oat milk is made from oats. Starch. It's full of starch, massive carbs. And so again, if you do like oat milk, it's better off changing it to almond or soy. And if you do really want your oat milk, have it at night. It's a really, really big piece. So, that's kind of what I did when I was on my release journey. And then when I went into maintenance, I had to increase my sorry, there is sounds like there's a delivery guy outside, but there's not. It's the next door neighbors. A little live chat there. Anyway, I had to increase my calories to maintain. And then I kind of mixed up things a little bit, but only ever have starchy carbs in the evening still. And I have tested and measured. I had rice at lunchtime, then I had sweet potato at lunchtime and stuff. And I was just like, feeling really wiped out. For one, my body wasn't used to it. And two, it's just such a thing. The other thing, once I started exercising, is having a pre-workout drink. Going in fasted into a workout is really, really not cool for a menopausal woman. It's really important to have a little bit of carbohydrate with protein, and an easy way to do that is to have 15 to 20 grams of protein powder with half a cup of soy or almond milk. And I used to add half a cup of prepared black coffee, but I have my coffee separate now, and I still just have black coffee, which is weird. I mean, I do have a little bit of coconut sugar in it just because I can, and I have enough in my calorie bank for that. And I also don't eat a lot of sugar and never go over my sugar in my tracking app. So again, if you are doing a workout, add in a pre-workout drink. And the easiest thing to do is just protein powder and nut milk or regular milk, whatever. And I also add in creatine, and sometimes I put in cinnamon as well. Cinnamon is amazing for perimenopause and menopausal women. It's a really, really, really beneficial spice to be using in your smoothies and in your pre-workout drinks. So that's a living example of what to eat. So again, let's recap. Having fats, carbohydrates, and protein at every meal. And carbohydrates are vegetables. So, the carbohydrates that I have in my lunch are the tomatoes and the salad, and it's not like carbs are not just bread. And, there's simple carbs and there's complex carbs, and that's the difference between rice, pasta, bread, quinoa, and getting carbohydrates from vegetables and fruits. Fruits are massively high in carbs, and we don't even think about that. Only have your starchy carbs in the evening and have an afternoon snack, something small, just to, 2-3 hours after lunch. Your hormones will be happy if you do that. And work out your resting metabolic rate. And if you want to release, just track. It's such a huge educational thing. I used to be so resistant to counting calories. Like, I was like, that's dumb. I don't want to do that. And oh my God, it became such a companion on this journey. Like, it educated me so much. I now know, what calories and macros are in all food, and I can just eat knowing that. It's liberating. It's freedom. Like, you actually know what's going in, the nutrients, and you can just do it for a little while, and it doesn't take long, especially if you eat similar things, and most people do eat similar things. So that's my little sharing today. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always here. My website is www.bigstar.com, and I appreciate so much you listening. Please feel free to share with anyone that you may feel benefit from this. All right. Love you. Bye.